Welcome back, Peak Monsters. I'm going to try doing a few shorter videos that are just teaching one thing, basically. All right, I'm checking out my rentals as an owner for the first time today. I'm going to see what cards I am renting for too little. So we're going to go to cards that are for rent, and then we're going to click on this delegated. So these are all the cards I'm actually renting. Here is what I've listed for rent, and then here is what I'm actually renting. So then what we're going to do is hit the compare your rentals. And then Peak Monsters will go through all 3,435 of the cards that are being rented and see which ones are being rented for way too little. So we can do that by clicking this column, and we'll see that these people are paying way too much. Now, these are momentary things. I think that if you were to look at the rental market right now, it's been 30 seconds since we did the compare your rental, that this card is probably no longer available at point one. So that's great. I don't need to relist the cards that I'm getting a lot for, okay? No reason to do that. Let's go the other direction. If we click it again, now we'll see that these cards are listed in the market for way more than what I'm presently renting it out. There is an issue, though. The issue is that this is probably a ridiculous price. So why would I want to stop my good rental to list at another ridiculous price? So sometimes the really high-priced cards I do not bother relisting. Why would I relist a level 7 clay golem at 40 DEC a day or 39 when I'm getting a decent return right here? So maybe what you do is you look at the combination of the two. This is very high and this is very low. So there is a benefit, though. You may not even bother to relist if the rate is like 10 to 20%, right? Like, oh, I'm getting pretty close to the amount that I could get. I don't want to stop these rentals to get that low amount. So we are interested in the high amount there. So what we'll do is, this is a positive number. So we're going to go at let's say it's the 40% rates, okay? So now it's just going to show us 471 cards that are above 41%. And then we'll sort by this column, okay? So we are getting a bad rate here and a bad rate here. So that combination of things, apparently the Dragon Whelp is very popular these days. So we will take all of these ones that are below 10% and that are above 40% here, and there's quite a few of them. So I've just grabbed a bunch of those, 96 of them, and then I am just going to stop them. Now there is an issue that if someone else has stopped it, that it won't allow you to stop them. So you need to go through and find the cards that are canceled already. So I already canceled a bunch, which is my fault. I should have done this all at one time. So all of these were ones that I already canceled. So I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any more of those. Okay, we're good. And now I can stop renting them. And then I will come back and list them for a higher price. Now, let's pretend that it's been one day and these are, there's 7 hours left on this, 1.7 hours on this. And when you come back, you can re-rent them. So let's go to those that are not delegated and not for rent. So we're going to have to get rid of that number. And so there's another fun thing that I do here is I click on the collection power. And I want to focus on renting my highest value cards first. Let's just do regular cards, not the gold foil. I'm playing in some gold foil tournaments, okay? So we are saying that we unrented a bunch. We stopped renting a bunch. And let's say the day has passed. And so now we go in here just as a reminder. We could go in and select a lot of cards. Make sure you don't select any gladiators. They can't be rented. Okay, so let's say it's all of these. Well, let's do more. Just to show you what's possible, we will select all of these and hit the rent. So 197 cards, that was more than what we stopped. I just want to remind you how this works. We're loading the low market prices. Remember, at the end of a season, the low market prices start to go way up. So we don't know if there's renters that are willing to continue to pursue those higher prices. Okay? So here we go. It's loading these cards. It is a very intensive process to load all of these. So it will take a little bit of time. But as you can see, it's going pretty fast. We just have 197 cards to go through. All right, the limit on the blockchain transactions is only 140. So what this is actually going to do is do 2 transactions for you. So we have created a queue system on Peak Monsters to list all of these cards. So think about this. Every second, it's doing what would take you 5 to 10 seconds manually if you were to do it on a different, like on Splinterlands. Now, here's an issue. If we cannot find a price, then it will put it, that it has nothing to compare it against. That means there is no other Cobalt Bruiser level 7 on the market. So what I would suggest is, just for time's sake, is going through, finding all those red arrows, all those zeros, and just remove it. In this case, there was only one, and therefore we are able to confirm all of these. I'm not going to go and cherry pick and look through to make sure all of these rates are good. Why not? Because tomorrow or the next day, I will simply go through and do that process all over again of going, every couple of days, maybe I'll just make sure that things are good. And I may stop potentially hundreds in a day and then relist hundreds each day. But as you saw, this video is only 8 minutes long, and I was talking for part of it. The process could be 5 minutes a day. So I think that's what we'll call the video. Now, if you are stopping 600, overpriced cards, or cards that you're not getting a good rate on, and then you have to go and relist them the next day, that process of finding 600 card rates may take a couple of minutes. So you may be up to 10 minutes a day. But that's exactly what's happening. Just as a recap, you can go in and find the cards that you are renting and are presently, actually in someone's hands, and you will do a compare your rentals, and you will find the bad rates. Now, if it's in the middle of a season, I would trust them to all be real rates. If it's the end of a season, they may be joke rates, and maybe people are willing to pay the joke rates. It's not great that renters are that uneducated that they're willing to pay these ridiculous rates. They will become more educated, I suppose. So you would go through and you would find, and maybe that's how you would do it, is you would pick a number, like I picked 40%, and then I would look for those that are giving me pretty bad return on asset, and I would reprice. I would stop renting those, and then the next day, or just later on, I would go in and select those that aren't being rented and not delegated, and I would list those in bulk. Literally 5 minutes. This video is 10 minutes, and I talked about the process a couple of times. I did it live. There's proof that managing your rentals can take, well, if you have a lot less cards, 2 minutes. 5 minutes is my fair estimation, but maybe if you have a very large account, it could take 10 minutes to do this. So I think there are limits of, and I want to show you this real fast. If you go here, you can click on this eye. List for rent is 140, but you can do multiple transactions. So I think maybe up to 400 at a time. No, it's more than that. Maybe 1,000 at a time. We need to update that to be able to say 1,000 at a time. So, I mean, just to show you, I guess, we're going to refresh this so we're not seeing any of those that got rented. Okay, give it a moment. It's trying to think through things. I'll pause maybe. Oh, I didn't. I paused, and 1 second later it came. All right, so we're going to select just the level 2, and because I'm not interested in renting the level 1s right now. It's just kind of a waste of resource credits. It's a waste of listing. It hampers. It's just not good to list level 1s unless they're epics or legendaries. Okay, so it is a waste of our time, the processing power. It makes rentals a worse environment if you're renting anything that's going to be 0.1 DEC. Anyways, so we've got 71 cards. That's it. That's all I don't have rented. Well, here's a fast thing. Click the select all. Sorry, I don't have the ability to show you that you can rent at least 4 or 5. I do usually 400 or 500 at a time. Anyways, this would be the end of my management of the whole entire system. I guess I had a lot of golds that I needed to rent, but again, I'm playing in some events that are gold events, so I don't really want to rent them right now. We got the Cobalt Bruiser, but there's only one card. As you can see, if you have one of those that is listed at 0, it is not going to be possible to confirm this action. So a level 8 is 14. So I'm going to make this level 7, 12. And that's a pretty high ROA, so maybe 10 to get people interested. And confirm. So that's another trick, is if you want to avoid listing all your level 1 cards, and you can just do that, hit select all, and you're good to go. Like, I'm giving you a little extra information, but your rental process could be 5 minutes a day if you think through how you want to do the steps. And maybe 5 minutes every couple of days. Maybe you're not so worried about it. It has been decently successful. If I refresh my whole entire thing to get back with no filters, you'll see that I am renting out 41,000 DEC a day. So I've just relisted a bunch. So the gap between these two numbers isn't too bad. That's 12% ROA. And there are cards that I am not even listing, right? So how much? There's $340,000 of cards that I'm not even listing. So, so if you look at, yes, those for rented, the actual is, well, 12% return on assets. So how about those that are actually being delegated out? 21% return on assets. Pretty great. So wouldn't you like to get a 21% return on assets on something that's $500,000? Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that information. Have a good day.